Mark, I'm Vicky, 邱姿瑜, and my student number is SO341016, and I'm sophomore at NCUE. Beverly, Dereck, Joubert, Life Lessons from Big Cats. Beverly Joubert. We are truly passionate about the African wilderness and protecting the African wilderness. And so what we've done is we've focused on iconic cats. And I know, in the light of human suffering and poverty and even climate change, one will wonder, why worry about few cats? Well, today we are here to share with you a message that we have learned from a very important and special character, this leopard. Dereck Joubert. Well, our lives have basically been like a super long episode of CSI, something like 28 years. In essence, what we've done is we've studied the science, we've looked at behavior, we've seen over 2,000 kills by these amazing animals. But one of the things that science really let us down on is that personality, that individual personality that these animals have. And here's a prime example. We found this leopard in a 2,000-year-old baobab tree in Africa, the same tree that we found her mother in and her grandmother. And she took us on a journey and revealed something very special to us. Her own daughter, 8 days old. And the minute we found this leopard, we realized that we needed to move in, and so we basically stayed with this leopard for the next 4.5 years. Following her every day, getting to know her, the individual personality of hers, and really coming to know her. Now I'm destined to spend a lot of time with some unique, very, very special individualistic, and often seductive female characters. Laughter. Beverly is clearly one of them, and this little leopard, Le Gardima, is another, and she changed our lives. BJ. Well, we certainly did spend a lot of time with her. In fact, more time than even her mother did. When her mother would go off hunting, we would stay and film. And early on, a lightning bolt hit a tree 20 paces away from us. It was frightening, and it showered us with leaves and a pungent smell. And of course, we were stunned for a while. But when we managed to get our wits about us, we looked at it and said, "Oh my gosh, what's going to happen with that little cub? She's probably going to forever associate it." That definitely crashed with us. Well, we needn't have worried. She came charging out of the thicket straight toward us, sat next to us, shivering, with her back towards Dereck and looking out. And actually from that day on, she's been comfortable with us, and so we feel that day was the day that she really earned her name. We call her Le Gardima, which means life from the sky. DJ. Now we've found this individualism is all sort of animals, in particular in the cats. This particular one is called Melo, he who agrees with fire, and you can see that about him, that's his character. But only by getting up close to these animals and spending time with them can we actually even reach out and dig out these personal characters that they have. BJ. But through her investigation, we have to seek the wildest places in Africa. And right now, this is the Scavengo Delta in Botswana. Yes, it is swamp. We live in a swamp in a tent. But I must tell you, every day is exhilarating. But also our hearts are in our throats a huge amount of time. Because we're driving through water and it's an unknown territory. But we are really there seeking and searching and filming the iconic cats. DJ. Now one of the big things, of course, everybody knows that cats have water, and so this was a real revelation for us, and we could only find this by pushing ourselves, by going where no sand people should go. not without some prompting, by the way, from Beverly, and this pushing the envelope, going out there, pushing our vehicle, pushing ourselves. But we've managed to find that these lions are 15% bigger than any others, and then they specialize in hunting buffalo in the water. And then, of course, the challenge is knowing when to turn around. We don't always get that right, and on this particular day, we seriously underestimated the depth. We got deeper and deeper, until it was at Dereck's chest height. Well, then we hit a deep depression, and we seriously submerged the vehicle. We actually managed to drown $2 million worth of camera gear. We drowned our pride, I must tell you, which was really serious, and we seized the engine. And of course, one of the rules that we have in the vehicle is that he who drowns the vehicle gets to swim with the crocodiles. Laughter. You will notice also that all of these images here are taken from the top angle by Beverly. The dry top angle, by the way. Laughter. But all the places we got stuck is in really have great views. It wasn't a moment, and these lions came back toward us, and Beverly was able to get a great photograph. But we truly to spend day and night trying to capture unique footage, and 20 years ago, we did a film called Eternal Enemies, where we managed to capture this unusual disturbing behavior across two species, lions and hyenas. And surprisingly, it became a cult film, and we can only work that out as people were seeing parallels between the thuggish side of nature and gang warfare. It was amazing because you can see that this lion is doing exactly what his name Etidomalo represents. He's focused on this hyena, and he's going to get it. Animal sounds. But that's, I think, what this is all about, is that these individuals have these personalities and characters. But for us to get them, not only do we push ourselves, but we live by certain rules of engagement, which mean we can't interfere. This sort of behavior has been going on for 3, 4, 5 million years. And we can't step in and say that's wrong and that's right, and that's not always easy for us. BJ. So as Dereck says, we have to work through extreme temperatures, push ourselves at night, sleep deprivation is extreme. We're on the edge through a large part of the time. But for 10 years, we tried to capture lions and elephants together, and never ever managed until a particular night, and I have to tell you that it was a disturbing night for me. I had tears rolling down my cheeks. I was shaking with anxiety, but I knew that I had to capture something that had never been seen before, had never been documented, and I do believe you should stay with us. DJ. The amazing about these moments, and this is probably a highlight of our career, is that you never know how it's going to end. Many people believe, in fact, that death begins in the eyes, not in the heart, and not in the lungs, and that's when people give up hope, and when any life form gives up hope, and you can see the start of it here, this elephant against overwhelming odds simply gives up hope. But by the same token, you can get your hope back again. So just when you think it's all over, something else happens. Some spark gets into you, some sort of will to fight, the iron will that we all have, that this elephant has, that conversation has, that big cats have. Everything has that will to survive, to fight, to push through that mental barrier, and to keep going. For us, in many ways, these elephants have become a symbol of inspiration for us, symbol of that hope as we go forward in our work. Applause. Now back to a leopard. We were spending so much time with this leopard and getting to understand her individualism, her personal character, and maybe we were taking it a little bit far. We were perhaps taking her for granted. Maybe she didn't like that much. This is about couples working together, and so I do need to say that within the vehicle we have quite strict territories. Beverly and I. Beverly sits on the one side where all her camera gear is, and I'm on the other side where my space is. These are precious to us, these divides. But when this little cub saw that I had vacated my seat and climbed to the back to get some camera gear, she came in like a curious cat to come and investigate. It was phenomenal, and we feel grateful that she trusted us to that extent. But at the same time, we were concerned that if she created this as a habit and jumped on into somebody else's car, it might not turn out the same way. She might get short of that. So we knew we had to react quickly, and the only way we thought we could, without scaring her, is to try and simulate a growl like her mother would make, a hiss and sound. So Dereck turned on the heater fan in the car, very innovative. It was the only way for me to save the marriage, because Beverly felt she was being replaced, you see. Laughter. But really and truly, this was how this little leopard was displaying her individual personality. But nothing prepared us for what happened next in our relationship with her when she started hunting. BJ, and on this first hunt we truly were excited. It was like watching a graduation ceremony. We felt like we were surrogate parents, and of course, we felt that now that she was going to survive, but only when we saw the tiny baby baboon clinging to the mother's fur did we realize that something very unique was taking place here with Legadima. And of course, the baby baboon was so innocent, and he didn't turn around. So what we watched over the next couple of hours was very unique. It was absolutely amazing when she picked it up to safety, protecting it from the hyena, and over the next 5 hours she took care of it. We realized that we actually don't know everything, and that nature is so unpredictable. We have to be open at all times. DJ, okay, so she has a little bit rough laughter, but in fact, what we were seeing here was interesting, because she is a cub wanting to play, but she was also a predator needing to kill, and yet conflicting in some way. Because she was also an emerging mother, she had this maternal instinct, much like a young girl on her way to womanhood, and so this really took us to a new level of understanding and personality. BJ, and of course, through the night, they lay together. They ended up sleeping for hours, but I have to tell you, everybody always asks what happened to the baby baboon. If it did die, and we suspect it was from the freezing winter nights. So at this stage, I guess we have very few ideas on what conversation meant. We had to deal with these individual personalities. We had to deal with them with respect and celebrate them. And so we, with the National Geographic, formed a Big Cats initiative to march toward into conversation, taking care of the big cats that we loved, and then had an opportunity to look back over the last 50 years to see how well we had all collectively been doing. So when Beverly and I were born, there were 450,000 lions, and today there are 20,000. Tigers haven't fared any better. 45,000 down to maybe 3,000. And then cheetahs have crashed all the way down to 12,000. Leopards have plummeted from 700,000 down to mere 50,000. Now in the extraordinary time that we have worked with Ligadima, which is really over the 5-year period, 10,000 leopards were legally shot by safari hunters, and that's not the only leopards that were being killed through that period. There's an immense amount of poaching as well, and so possibly the same amount is simply not sustainable. We admire them and we fear them. Yet, as men, we want to steal their power. It used to be the time where only kings wore leopard skin, but not throughout rituals and ceremonies, traditional healers and ministers, and of course, looking at this lion pole that has been skinned, it eerily reminds me of human hand, and less ironic, because their fate is in our hands. DJ, this burgeoning bone trade. South Africa just released some lion bones onto the market. Lion bones and tiger bones look exactly the same, and so in a stroke, the lion bone industry is going to wipe out all the tigers. So we have a real problem here. No more so than the tigers do, the male lions. So the 20,000 lions figure out that you just saw actually a red herring, because there may be 3,000 or 4,000 male lions, and they all are actually infected with the same disease. I call it complacency, or complacency, because there's a sport, there's an activity going on that we all aware of, that we condone, and that's probably because we haven't seen it like we are today. And you have to know that when the male lion is killed, it completely disrupts the whole pride. A new male comes into the area and takes over the pride, and of course, first of all kills all the cubs and possibly some of the female that are defending their cubs. So we've estimated that between 20 and 30 lions are killed when one lion is hanging on the wall somewhere in a far off place. So what our investigations have shown is that these lions are essential. They're essential to the habitat. If they disappear, whole ecosystems in Africa disappear. There's an $80 billion a year ecotourism revenue stream into Africa. So this is not just a concern about lions, it's a concern about communities in Africa as well. If they disappear, all of that goes away. But what I'm more concerned about in many ways is that as we delink ourselves from nature, as we delink ourselves spiritually from these animals, we lose hope, lose that spiritual connection, our dignity, that thing within us that keeps us connected to the planet. So you have to know, looking into the eyes of lions and leopards right now, it's all about critical awareness. So what we are doing in February is bringing out a film called Last Lion. And Last Lion is exactly what is happening right now. That is the situation we're in, Last Lions. That is, if we don't take action and do something, these plains will be completely devoid of big cats, and then in turn everything else will disappear. And simply, if we can protect them, we're going to have a job protecting ourselves as well. And in fact, that original thing that we spoke about and designed our lives by, the conversation was all about respect and celebration. It's probably true. That's really what it needs. We need it. We respect and celebrate each other as a man and women, as a community and as a part of the planet. We need to continue that. And Ligadema, we can report in fact that we're grandparents. Laughter, BJ and DJ. Thank you very much. Applause. Thank you, Mark.